Now there is one more demonstration that I'd like to do while we're talking about variables. And I like to demonstrate this one specifically because it's something that confuses most developers when they're new to JavaScript or any programming language. But it's a common error that can sneak in and drive you crazy while you try to figure out what it is. So let's go back to our document and take a look at our values for our variables. Both of them right now have strings in them, and that means text. One has BOB and the other one has the letters SLED in it. Now we tried this with numbers and with text, but I'd like to point out that if I use numbers in here, for instance, if I use the number 6 for A, and we'll use the number 7 for the B value, but this time I actually have quotes around them. Now, a lot of people, when they're first using variables or first setting up JavaScript, they're a little bit confused as to whether they should use quotes or not. And the basic answer is use quotes when you want the character and don't use quotes when you want the value. This works the same down in our document write statement where we're using the secret word is and we've got it in quotes. That's signaling that we want the exact characters. And we don't have quotes, so we want whatever the value is of A and B. We don't want the characters A plus B. Now, when I made this change over here, what do you think we're going to see for our secret word this time? Normally, when we add 6 and 7 together, we get 13. But when I save this page and we go back out and check it on the browser, I'll refresh, you can see that our secret word is the numbers 6 and 7 because it treated them like characters and not like numbers. Now, hopefully, this will help you decide whether you want a character as the value for your variable or a number. And we can play with this a little bit more. You'll notice if I try to confuse the JavaScript, I'm going to set the first value, A, to the number 6. I'm going to leave B as the character 7. Remember, we still have quotes around it. And just so there's no confusion, I'm going to remove that little label that we made as the first part of our document write statement. I'm going to get rid of the secret word is and the first plus sign. And that will leave us with just our A and B variables so we don't have any confusion. Now let's save our changes and we'll go out and refresh our page in the browser. And you can see that now we're just seeing 6 and 7. So what that tells us is that if the program sees one variable that's a number and one variable that's not a number, and we try to add them together, it's going to treat them both like non-numbers or characters. And we're seeing it just put those two characters together, just like it did the words Bob and sled. In order to see them used as numbers again, we'll have to have both of our variables act like numbers. So I'm going to take the quotes away from the 7, and we'll do one last save and refresh of the page. And now you can see that we're actually seeing the number 13 there as the evaluation of the addition of those two variables for us. Now we've done our demonstrations with only two different kinds of variables. Variables that store numbers and variables that store text or what we call strings. But those aren't the only two kinds of variables we have. There are other types called Booleans, which store just a true or false value or a 1 or a 0. And there's even arrays, which store multiple values. But the two values that I've shown here, numbers and text, are the ones you're most likely to see when you're modifying scripts or setting things up to make JavaScript work. A typical example would be a variable that contains a path to a link, and in order to get the script to work with your code, you'll have to add your link to it. So you just need to identify where the variable is, and then just change the value that it's set to. So your contact with variables will be minimal, but you'll need to know what you're doing.